Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan and today we're going to talk about, well, what happened with patch 3.1 and just in general some Warhammer 3 stuff. See, if you aren't aware, about 2 weeks ago, update 3.1 dropped for Total War Warhammer 3. A very large update actually, which is becoming the norm for Warhammer 3. Patches are getting larger and larger in an effort to fix a lot of issues. The problem is that a lot of these patches are coming in and it doesn't look like they're getting tested much as, well, let's be honest, a lot of fixes did come into play. There's a few good things that happened to the Dark Elves, for example, but it seems to be becoming a little bit more common that patches are coming in with fixes, but also breaking other stuff. Some examples include Nakai the Wanderer, you know, one of the factions that most people try to avoid anyway, so I don't think too many people picked up on it until a bit later, but he can't even recruit some of his important units for some reason. I don't know why. The Lizardmen didn't really get any changes, or minuscule changes at that, but now the Horde faction can't recruit any baseline units, which we still don't have a hotfix for 2 weeks later. Or Britannia. You see, Britannia did get a nice little update. I do feel like the Grail Knights do overperform, but the one thing that kind of annoyed me was they implemented a new mechanic. Well, not really new, it was just reskinned for the damsels and prophetesses. These are troughs which are identical to Protonian vows, and they simply do not work, which in all honesty is kind of concerning. A new addition to the game, and it doesn't work when it launches. I mean, that's a bit of a problem. The thing is, we're likely not going to get another patch until patch 4.0. You see, patches have become the most frequent they've ever been. They've actually been releasing outside of DLC launches, which is absolutely fantastic. So we're getting them on an average of every 6 weeks or so. The next one will be dropping around the Shadows of Change DLC. Although I am hoping that some sort of hotfix patch does come out soon to fix, well, a lot of the issues that were brought up through this recent drop. Obviously, there's a way to fix a lot of these issues right now, and that's with the download of a mod. There is a community bug fix mod which, you know, does fix a lot of these problems, but I don't really feel like a mod should be fixing problems of the game. I like the idea of mods, you know, adding in some fun stuff, an extra unit, an extra lord, sometimes a new faction, some quality of life improvement, sure, but not fixing up issues that have just come out from a recent patch. Though for all of you who want this mod, you can find it linked in the description below just in case. It does feel like there's a 1 step forward, 2 step back situation, which not many people are talking about. I was over the moon when I found out that the Protonians were going to get fixed up. We weren't able to play this prior, so I had to wait until the proper launch. But logging in and then finding out that, you know, some things just don't work or some things are too overpowered, it just kind of kills off the want to play as Britannia, doesn't it? More so the trough feature than anything else. I know some people are very much enjoying the Grail Knights as they stand, but new toy and the toy doesn't work. Which is interesting to point out because not long after the patch came out, when people already started complaining, there was an update to the known issues list, which you can see on screen right now, and it's a very small update. They added 4 different things. It's kind of worrying that the known issues list is getting larger and larger, especially for a game that is getting consistent patching. And yeah, it's not great considering the following too. There are certain fixes that are claimed in 3.0 which aren't really the case. Like for example, Chaos Spawns still have that issue where, you know, the model just kind of breaks, the animations are all over the place, it's just a weird mesh. There are certain things that have been reported by the player base, like for example, there's still an issue with Corridil's Unchained quest apparently. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's something that's been happening a lot, you know, there have been like multiple patch notes which say that Tyrion's Sunfang quest has been fixed, and yes, it's actually been fixed now, but it was like 4 patches saying, no, it's been fixed. No, it's been fixed. No, it's been fixed. It's like, that's not really the case now, is it? And not being funny, I'm nitpicking here, yes, but there's certain things that have gotten fixed, which, really, did they need to be fixed? Like, for example, new campaign selection screen defaults to the race selection screen rather than Reichland/Zhao Ming. Is that even something that really needed to be fixed compared to everything else that's actually causing problems in-game? It just seems like very weird priority when, yeah, I don't want to use Chaos Spawn sometimes because getting up close and personal, which I know some people do because they want to see cool shit do cool stuff, yeah, it bothers me. and when much weirder bugs are popping in, like for example invisible walls in siege maps. This is something that I took in a live stream, I think on the day that 3.1 actually released, where there are invisible walls and they're appearing in maps such as these. You can actually fire down from them. It gives you a height advantage, obviously. It's pretty bizarre. I'm not sure how many maps like this are getting affected, but this map generally seems to be getting hit with it. People have been saying it's being in other maps too. It's kind of concerning, and it does look like future patches are going to be fairly large too. If we look at the roadmap very quickly, we can see that they've got plans to fix a lot of stuff, even just in the upcoming DLC Shadows of Change. You know, campaign AI improvements, ongoing settlement battle improvements, alongside changes to Tzeentch, Cafe, and Kislev, which are going to likely update the races. I mean, I imagine that Tzeentch and Kislev will get the biggest updates, Kislev probably getting the biggest amount of attention. Cafe as a faction is fine, they just need new stuff to play with. But with so much attention going to certain races and already stuff that needs to be fixed, what's going to happen with the issues that have just cropped up? Does that get moved to patch 4.1? Will that be another large update which will have the same issues? You can see my concern here, and this continues on. Thrones of Decay is going to get a lot of attention towards the Dwarves, Nurgle, and Empire races that really need help, but what about all the current bug fixes? The problem is asking for more patches in between is unrealistic. Obviously, not only does that require a lot of dev time, which would be taken away from potential DLC, as, yeah, we know that this DLC is on the works. They're working on it, you know, and to prepare for it. I'm expecting Shadows of Change come August, and I'll be honest with you, I would not like to see dev time taken away from DLC and having issues like some issues that we had during Warhammer 2's period. Obviously, we have to take into account that asking for more patches is going to cause a bit of an issue, as it breaks a lot of saves. Yes, you can roll back, but it does have issues with certain mods and so on. It's one of these double-edged swords. So what's the answer here? Well, honestly, there is no proper answer. What I would like to see is smaller, more compact patches coming out. Because yes, getting a massive amount of patch notes is quite impressive, but the problem is that those big patches don't really fix too much. A lot of the fixes that have come into effect for these patches, what makes it actually look so big too, is a lot of changes to multiplayer. Again, I know multiplayer is its own thing, it should really have its own balancing, but it's kinda obvious that if the patches are too large, then fixes don't actually happen. Well, they do, but a lot more problems start to present themselves. This is also an issue when a game gets too big. The larger the game gets, the more of these bugs can be shown off. It's very difficult, depending on the size of the QA team, to be able to test everything. But I think smaller, more compact, and more efficient patches would actually be beneficial to the game. Bigger doesn't always mean better, especially if we're expecting other big content patches with, you know, the actual DLC drops. I personally rather the bug fixing patches being smaller, but still being able to fix a bunch of issues, rather than fixing one thing but breaking two other things, or the thing that they claim was fixed was not actually fixed. But what do you guys think? Honestly, I just wanted to have a little bit of a discussion about this because, to be honest, yeah, it's a bit annoying when these things happen. When fixes don't actually get fixed despite claiming that they were, or when major issues start popping up like this. It's very odd when a race gets fixed, well, you know, like for example the Britannia thing, and it doesn't seem like it was tested enough to actually see if it works. I don't know. Maybe they're finding themselves a bit overworked. Maybe it's a lot of stuff that's going to Shadows of Change now. We're going to have to wait and see for that, obviously. Before anyone says anything, I very much doubt that Pharaoh is going to affect this, because it's completely different teams, they're in completely different countries. Because I've seen some people going, oh yeah, Pharaoh is affecting Warhammer. I very much doubt it. We've had times where we've had multiple games in Total War before. We had Troy, Three Kingdoms, and Warhammer 2 working alongside each other. And yeah, everything was fine then. Kind of want to go back to that. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Let's start a bit of a discussion. I do apologize if this video is late. I have been kind of busy with some stuff, and yeah, not a lot of PC time lately.